Tonight's show, we're talking about supernatural or super real. And I'm answering all your questions with live readings coming up right now.
Does it look like a Devin or David?
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You saw like there's something in your end table that you this too.
My God, we're crazy.
Yeah.
You might be hard on your right knee when you're running. Make sure you're not too hard on the right knee.
100%.
Okay.
Honey, I'm a runway walker. Okay.
I don't know if she's showing me flowers. Like, relay them or redo them. These purple flowers.
Oh my God, Scott, the flowers are right there. My orchids are purple. They completely are dead.
Yeah.
Did you even know? You nailed
100%.
everything, every single thing. Listen, everyone, this guy.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
Who doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Camera's psychic who first questioned Brooke's cancer.
Scott Cruz.
Oh, there you
know
are.
it's
You
last
won.
You better question yourself. We're here to bring enlightenment, not confusion.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I said, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here? The solution for me is awakening people to the bull.
I agree.
People need to stop being deterred by nonsense. You gotta summon the people.
I don't just come on here and talk or parrot. I'm living it.
In harmony with nature, in a mystical adventure, we're building on a culture.
Happy Thursday Night Live, everybody. Welcome to the Cruisyverse. How was your week? Has it been great? Good? What are you feeling? I'm sure it's mixed emotions going on. As we know, we're week to week. It's kind of like this, but right where last week we're kind of like this, but we might be still like this, but about to kind of go down. So things will be repetitive week to week, but we're here to help you navigate. That's why I'm here, to help you navigate, to understand when it's going to take a downturn, when it's going to take an upturn. That's what we're here about, and how to kind of ride through these waves and so forth. So we're approaching Cancer season, so I'm sure the emotions are about to come out like a, cork in a bottle exploding and all that stuff. So it could be a celebration or it could be a disaster. So depends on you. Depends on how you've been approaching your weeks and approaching your circumstances. And have you been allowing yourself to feel? Because feeling is the spec sheet, what's going on inside of you, and what's really the modality that you choose to be in or not to be in. That's what your feelings are. It's telling you why you're in the situations that you're in. It's telling you where you want to be or where you don't want to go. And so you got to pay attention to that. It's your GPS. So you can't be saying to yourself, I want to go somewhere, but I'm just going to ignore the GPS and figure it out myself. When you don't listen to your intuition or listen to yourself and listen to what you're feeling, you're basically saying F off to the GPS. Does that make sense? It don't make sense. So today, the topic I was thought about doing is, supernatural, super real. And so there's so much spiritual and supernatural phenomena, but still nothing has been proven. There's no still scientific evidences. There's some here and there, but nothing that really has solidified the aspects of supernatural experiences. And so, we'll get into that with the topic. I mean, just like before, the aliens, that was a Inquirer magazine sort of thing. And then, of course, now it's been vindicated that, alien life force exists. And then they just kind of brushed that off, right? So spirituality is going to be next on the list of these, spiritual phenomena that would be kind of vindicated, in the next 5 years. And so good, finally, but we'll get into that. And before I get into the collective read, let's see who's all chatty Cathy in the room here. I can only see who's been chatting, of course. Brenda Zweck, good to see you. Wesley Mosher, hello. David Cruz, my father, hello. Noelle Way, my sister from another mister. How's it going? Jennifer Cruz, my mother, my awesome mother, good to see you as well. It was just Father's Day, too. Caroline Canton, good to see you. Glad you're here with us all, too. Darby Mabry, looking forward to having you here tonight, too, actually. Wonderful Mod Nina's in the room, so if you want to get your questions in, get them in now. I'm going to close them down early, so get them in, squeeze them on in. in. $15 for a card pull, $20 for one question, $30 for two, and $40 for a live video. And the live video can only be Venmo because I need to send a link to you to call in. That can only be done. I can only respond for some reason to Venmo. And so the PayPal and Venmo links are in this description below. And of course, our wonderful Manita will help you, guide you through on getting that in if need be. But like I said, get them in. I'm going to be first come, first serves, and I'm going to be out soon. Quick. So today, I say that, and who knows, it might go the other way. Maybe I'll just say I'm going to have a long night, and then it'll be a shorter night. Who knows? Catchers Oracle Magic, good to see you. Iggy, can't you see? Yes, it has been a minute. What the hell, man? Where you been? You have some replays to watch. I don't know if you guys didn't check last week's live, had Brittany Carmichael on, and so a lot of you guys know her from also speaking with Unite the Light last year with me as well, and so we tag teamed, and we're probably going to do a frequent, collaboration along the way, so we might, if you missed her, you'll see her again too, but it was a good collab last week, so check it out if you didn't check the replay. And we also talked about relationships yesterday on Leading Out Loud, so check out that episode if you missed that too. You have a whole lot of stuff to watch, guys. Come on, we're trying to feed your palate here. Other than your 48 hours and and kitchen nightmares and all the other crap that's on your rotation on YouTube. I see you. Horses Trigger Hope Karma, good to see you. Linda Jane, hello, welcome aboard. BL, hello, good to see you. Linda Jane, hello. And those of you who are watching, I cannot see. I can only see who's chatting in the room. And I will start with the collective read. And of course, I don't need tarot cards. I used to use them for collective read purposes. So let's get into it. Let me shuffle these cards here and see what's going on with the collective, shall we? Okay. June's been always a quiet month, right? And so, I don't know if you guys have noticed that too. Like things have been kind of quiet, almost like there's air to breathe in a sense. I notice a lot of people especially me included, is spending less time online, and I post because that's just part of my work, but I just seem like people are just not so much present, which is a good thing because it's probably summertime. People are out and about doing things. But if you also feel that quietness, understand like it's that time to breathe. It's time to like hear yourself without distortion, distraction, and busyness. So how many of y'all been feeling like that empty energy a little bit, the quiet energy? Put it in there. Let's see what the reads are here. Okay. Shuffling these cards. Like they're crispy, these cards tonight. They're crispy. What does crispy mean? I don't know. Okay. A lot of reversals. I'm going to shuffle again. Why are you guys thinking on the upside? Or the upside down? You guys are doing things in reverse or doing things backwards. We might be seeing things a little backwards, so I'm going to reshuffle. So all reversals that just really kind of were very not coherent. Okay. Understand. Okay. Again, man. Got a lot of female energy up in here. All right. Well, we'll shuffle these oracles because it's just the oracle cards because need some clarifications on some of these. Y'all all over the place. Y'all seem scattered. So we'll talk about what that means to be scattered too. Energetically, now collectively the energy is in a state of, we started movement in May, right? Energetic movement. June's kind of like just a little bit of coasting. July's explosions, right? And so, and I feel like the chaos had begun, as I said, June would be very chaotic, collectively, and it has been already. And so we're kind of like observing, but we're in betwixt a couple energy here. So let me just pull these and I'm going to get started in a moment. Okay. All right. Okay. Some of y'all need to understand the difference between excitement and anxiety. Right now, we are on a cusp of manifestation, a manifestation period, right? And when I kept saying May is a month of movement, I did see a lot of people move and a lot of people make shifts and changes in May, but that begins the energetic movement too. And I always say June, July is like the tangible movements, more so July. June is kind of like the bridging period of movement to the tangible manifestations. But a lot of you guys are doing in betwixt this time period too. But some of you, even those maybe got things started, you don't know the direction, you have this sense of excitement, but also anxiety of the unknown. And so, and there's at times you don't understand the differences between excitement or anxiety. You need to take a step back when you're in that modality and understand you could be excited and also anxious at the same time. It's time to talk things through, not rush things. See, this month of June primarily was a month to not push things, not to rush things. Let it be quiet. There are times when things are quiet in our lives that we have to let our voice echo in our minds so we can really hear what we're really saying within. We can really hear what we're saying behind the scenes. We can really hear what we really feel through the voice of what's going on within. And so there are times that we do need that clarity by having that space clear, by having that distortion eliminated, not that shit around us, not the people in your ear going on all the time, and not people pulling from you left, right, and sideways, and not any type of confusion. Because when things do pick up and move and you're ready to engage, there needs to be some sort of a clear head and a preparation for such. And when I say preparation, we're talking emotional preparation, and also the intellectual preparation. The intellectual preparation comes from being aware and conscious of what you need right now and the doors you've been closing, because it's all about closing those chapters. As I've been saying the past few weeks, closing those doors is about a revelation during this period of time. And we need to, in order to reveal things and to have those realizations, there needs to be some empty space to do so. And that's what's happening now. And like I said previously, that many of you are on that precipice of major change. You feel intuitively that the older paradigm is closed, and you feel intuitively that you're in between that newer paradigm from starting. So you're anxious, but also you have excitement too underneath it. What do I do with that? Now it's time to take it slowly and be very introspective on the fact of the direction you are going. Really be clear about that direction by filling in the gaps, filling in the specs, right? The details of what that really means, because a lot of us can feel that next chapter, but not so clear about what that chapter is. I just feel something good is coming. You know how many times I hear that from clients? I just feel something good is coming. What is it? And so how about you define what that good thing is? Because if it's something good, it's something you're intending. It's something you're wanting from the soul level for it to manifest or to express. What is it? Get to know yourself on that so you understand when it actually comes into manifestation, you can navigate it. Oh yeah, I saw this coming. I saw this coming months ago, and so, and there's also a group of you who also are getting all your ideas at once. I actually had a discussion with my client this morning about this. You're getting all the ideas now at once. You're like, I don't know which to pick, which to do. And we're saying you don't have to pick between what you need to do now. Spread it out. A lot of times we're being very psychic about the things we will do, but we think because we can't do it now that we shouldn't do it at all. It's like, no, look at your timeline. You are here, you are going here. Where can you place that in your timeline, whatever that to-do is, or that idea or opportunity that you think is going to be a great asset for you? But the problem is everyone's like, well, I got to cram it all in now and do it all now. I was like, no, that's what's going to create that anxiety and anxious energy. And you're going to be beside yourself in that sense. So spread it out. And so, and you start lining that up. And that actually, which is the spec sheets really to that future paradigm. Because when you set those chapters, you understand how to navigate it. Then you're focused on chapter to chapter. You're not overwhelmed by the overall arching idea that seems somewhat, vague to you. You filled in those spec sheets, and that helps you to navigate because you start looking at it from step to step, right? You see it as a journey. You see how the pathway has unfolded for you. And that brings a clarity. But that takes a time of introspection. And that time is introspection has been now. But it doesn't require a push. If you've been trying to push in June, you're probably not successful in anything if you're trying to push in the month of June. You probably notice pushback, delays, right? And so that's what June is not about, you pushing anything. It's about the self-reflection. As cliche, as general, as much as we hear it all the time, what is true self-reflection? I like to say true self-reflection is honesty. You're not just looking at yourself in the mirror saying, oh, I have black hair, or I look this way. You're looking in the mirror and saying to yourself, here are the things I'm really great at, but here's the things I also need to change. But so many guys emphasize just the things that you need to change. Again, I'm good and bad. And so then you start saying about all the bad qualities that you have, the negative qualities that you have. You just emphasize that too much. And you forget about the good qualities and the strengths that you do possess. So true self-reflection is understand the yin to your yang. You're not all bad. You're not all needing to work, and you're not all needing to fix things. You're also a lot of great attributes too. What are they? And this is the things that we have to remind ourselves. And that's funny, I was saying this, I didn't know where it was going, and then I saw the power card laying there. So it's really about knowing that power, right? And understanding how to utilize that power. That power is understanding the dichotomy of you and the yin yang of who you truly are as a total being. Because part of you being in power and having that strength is understanding where you are weak too and how to navigate your weaknesses and turn it into strengths. But a lot of guys are trying to run away from your weaknesses because you're afraid to acknowledge it. And you feel like if you acknowledge it, it becomes true. And it's like, it will always be true, even when you are refusing to acknowledge it, because the fact that it's existing means it's true. If it didn't exist, you wouldn't try to push it away or avoid it. So don't avoid those negative aspects that you call them negative aspects of yourself, but I like to call them undeveloped aspects of yourself. They're just undeveloped areas. They're not negative. They're not bad. Just undeveloped. So work on developing those aspects of yourself so you understand in totality who you are, where you go, what your power really is, and how to utilize those tools. That's the real acceptance, and that's a true self-reflection. And it's not picking at yourself. It's understanding we're never going to be at a peak of, I'm complete, I'm the perfect being. We're never going to be at that state. That's why we're in physical reality. That's why there's eternal experiences of existence of consciousness, because we're always constantly evolving and expanding. And there's no end to that, so what are you rushing for if there's no end to it? So it's about enjoying. That's what enjoying the journey really means, and enjoying the process really means, is because it never ends. It's going to continue on. So if you're in this process, let's actually look at the process. Everyone's trying to hop out of the process. I got to hop and get out of this state. What's the next state? And then go into the next state, hop into the next state, hop into the next state. You're always just playing hopscotch in the next state then you wonder why you're exhausted and burnt out and have no passion. It's because you're not actually allowing yourself to integrate or interact and show up for the things that are actually in your life currently. Right? That's the issue. But when we actually allow ourselves to stop playing hopscotch and jumping from step to stage or chapter to chapter, and we're actually engaging with the current experience, then we find the passion through it. We realize why there is some sort of overarching plan or destiny that we've created prior to incarnating. We understand the theme, the purpose, right? And so you don't have to be spiritual to understand that. It's just like hearing yourself out. And you don't even have to understand about intuition or psychic, but it's about actually understanding how you are processing, how you're feeling, how you were navigating or not navigating. A lot of guys are not navigating. A lot of guys are stuck, like we said before, in this state of anxiety. Right? State of anxiety, but also excitement, but you don't know which one is which. You can't tell the difference because you haven't done that self-reflection. You haven't gone down deep to the spec sheet and say, this is a feeling means this feeling means that, this feeling means this feeling means that, and not able to identify the specs, the instruction manual to why you feel what you feel and how to actually construct the paradigm that you really want to experience. You know, it's more simple than an IKEA manual, instruction manual. Don't make it an IKEA instruction manual. All the unnecessaries, trying to put together all the unnecessaries, make it overly complicated. Right? It's very more simplistic than we think. And, you know, in order for a blossoming phase, there's got to be a nurturing phase. Right? And so, what does a nurturing phase mean? If you really want to blossom, like, how do I nurture myself? If you really want to think about nurturing in the sense of when you're watering a plant, when you're nurturing a child, nurturing someone who is sick. But the thing is that we haven't been taught how to nurture for the sake of nurturing. We always say, I have to nurture something because something's off or something is sick, something is in dis-ease. So therefore, that's when I have to nurture someone or something. We haven't learned how to just nurture for the sake of nurturing. And nurturing is a continuous energy. It's a consistent energy, a frequency of being that means that you're actually putting love into the things that you're experiencing. And love has such a broad term too. When people say love is love, I can't stand that phrase. I mean, love is love. Love has so much dynamic to it. What the fuck do you mean love is love? What is love? It's so many different parameters of love. Let's be definitive here. And so, but putting love into yourself means that you're not going to judge yourself during this time of I call it the bridging phase, recalibration. You're not judging yourself. You're not judging yourself the things that you're closed and the things that you're putting beside you and putting in your past. You're not judging yourself for that. That's true nurturing, because then you're accepting that there's growth. You're accepting that, oh, I'm evolving. You're accepting there's an expansion, there's a growth, there's a maturity, both intellectually and spiritually. You accept that. So there's nothing to judge. That's what blossoming is. So we can throw these cliche cards and say, oh, blossoming, you're blossoming, honey. It's like, that's not the message. We need to discuss what blossoming is and how to create that essence of, and the feeling of that you feel like you're blossoming, which is growth. You know, and so when we think about that and we understand that true essence, then these cliches sentiments become like, oh yeah, like it really hits home, because you understand the vibe behind it. You understand the frequency behind it and the power behind it. Not just the words. So let's start stop seeking the words and start seeking the vibe. Stop seeking the phrases and seeking the vibe. Stop seeking the physical expressions and seek the vibe first, and then express. Stop seeking the validation, because many times what you're asking for is just for you to have a permission slip to do what you want to do, or give yourself a permission slip to feel okay. A lot of times people come to me just because they need me to be the permission slip to say, you are okay, things are good, yes, you're fine, yes, you're in control, yes, you're intuitive. And that's all I need me is a cosign on that. But if you know that you need that validation inside, you've already validated it. Why do you need the external sources? Don't let that slow you down. You know you're looking for the validation. That means you know it's validated. Boom, you've already validated it because you know it deserves it. Stop seeking it. And that's more that self-reflection too, is that you are the one that validates. No one else. Everything else is just a complementary experience. Everything else is just a result or reflection, of what you've already confirmed for yourself. Right? So, and last final card, because these cards are cliche, but I'm going to just get a bit more meat to it, is beginnings. Everything's a new beginning. What does beginnings mean, right? We say, oh, just new beginnings. I'm just, beginning again and new beginnings. Understanding that it's always a new beginning, because every day is a decision to redirect, refocus, right? And so you're starting anew. So if you made a decision that you didn't care for yesterday, there's a new beginning the next moment, the next minute. You don't have to wait for a new beginning. You can start new at any moment that you prefer. You can start that thought process and change it at any moment you prefer too. It's moment to moment. And that's what really shifting and growing really is that you're allowing yourself to you're allowing yourself to bend through what you're feeling and experiencing to gain wisdom and insight into where you want to go and how you want to direct and orchestrate your life. And then you understand it's a new beginning at all times. Each conversation is a new beginning to evoke and express something you didn't before, or say something you didn't say before. Each collaboration with someone is a new beginning to bring more inspiration with whatever you're collaborating on, with whoever you're collaborating with. Each day you wake up is a new beginning to redirect what you want to do with your health. Each day. Some of you guys are sitting there waiting, like you're staying, like in the very beginning I said, stuck in anxiety and fear at the same time. Because you're waiting for something to happen. And guys, let's be realistic for a moment here. What are you waiting for, and where is it coming from, and who is doing it? We've gotten wrapped up in this mystical bullshit of the universe is sending me things, and I'm waiting on the universe. Universe is a mechanism. It just responds to you. If you say to the universe, I want to wait, we'll enjoy more waiting. If you say I want to take action and make things happen, then you'll make things happen. You'll align with all that. So June is a reminder as we walk into Cancer season, as we were in Gemini season, about understanding that duality, that dichotomy of self, the yin to the yang, right? The old and now the new. Now, as we walk into Cancer season, it's a new beginning now, because we were able to identify that, and June is a time to really reflect on that. So then we select that pathway we desire, and we create that newer beginning of new beginnings, because we have overarching new beginnings with more new beginnings, and it's a rabbit hole of beginnings everywhere. Beginnings for everyone, right? So shifting to that level of consciousness makes you understand you're not missing anything, you don't need anything, and you have everything right within you. And that's what people still can repeat all they want with their bumper stickers, but no one really understands what that truly means. It took me a while to understand what that truly means. because, I understand now the thing I crave is always getting more wisdom for myself and the things I'm engaged with and what I'm seeing, and becoming more objective as possible to understand why things are happening, but still have my own personal preferences without judgment. I seek that. And when I reach those levels, and I keep reaching those levels, that is the most satisfying thing I've ever experienced in my life. That it's more satisfying than any physical manifestation or condition. That's what we need to be seeking. And that is all within our emotions. And then, because right now, my physical environment is just a manifestation, just a reflection of where I'm at. So I'm not trying to make it, try to get where I want to be with that. I go where I vibe with, where I'm really feeling my expression needs to be without judgment. And I understand where I'm at now is always a reflection of where I'm current. It's expressing my inner emotional alignment is where I'm in my external world. And you'll understand that. And that means that you understand you are in control. And you understand these conditional manifestations are just reflections. It's all they are. Good, bad, and the ugly. Just reflections. And more to tell you of that self-reflection of where you need to be and where you are and where you want to be. Not where you were. So now's our time. So, get prepared now for Cancer season, because everything that you've been bottling up in Gemini season is going to come out in Cancer season, whether you like it or not. The things you've been trying not to look at, you're going to be faced to look at it in this next month ahead. You're going to be faced to look at those ugly emotions and things that you know are there that you're just not wanting to look at. They're going to come out. They're going to come into a physical manifestation in July. What are you going to do when that happens? When you finally have to be forced to face it? So if you haven't faced those things, look for those clues now. Get ahead of it. Be open and willing to. This way, when it starts to physically manifest, you're like, I see what you are. I'm going this direction. I've evolved from you, but thank you, right? And you move forward. You're talking to it like it's an entity, the state of the emotional state. Anyway, so that's a collective read, right? But it's also hard now, leading to our topic. Quick topic. Let me be very quick with this topic. Now, is it supernatural or is it super real? What can I believe? And so, leading from the topic, we're talking about what you feel. That gives you more clue into insights of who you are now, but also who you were. And I'm talking about in previous incarnations. Now, past lives are embedded. I believe that the information is embedded in our DNA. DNA is memory, basically. This is what I believe, and some scientists have said this too. So it could be pseudoscience. I don't know. It's something I intuitively resonate with, because otherwise, why is DNA so important? It does store some sort of information. So this is my theory. This is my belief, and so. And there's a lot about consciousness that we haven't figured out yet, that we just can't explain. And so, yes, it makes it frustrating that we can't really validate non-physical and supernatural experiences, because they can't be measured quite yet. Consciousness in itself is still a question. They can't answer a lot of those aspects of consciousness. And so when we start with our feelings, we can start tapping into our own versions of what super real really is. And it will be supernatural, because there's nothing in your physical world that can, I would say, validate that. But for example, if you're finding more of that self quest, you're in the quest for learning more about self on the core level, and you start having past life regressions, you know how it gets validated to you? You keep hearing it through other readers, through other ways it comes up in your life. It will be supernatural, but to you that's super real, because God, I had a past life regression. I was a witch in a past life, and then then other readers just randomly came and said I was a witch in a past life, or came out in another way, and there's I didn't tell them, but how do they know? And how does people from different locations know this and say the same thing? And I never told them, and you start realizing, okay, I'm being vindicated. It's being validated. So for you to be super real. And it's a personal experience, but the external world has validated it for you. That's how you understand the differences. Because a lot of times people are afraid to acknowledge the supernatural within them, because it can't be validated. So they just think they're imagining things. No, it's just in my head. I'm like, well, everything's in your head. When you tell yourself you're not good enough, you're imagining that too. Is that true or false? You want to ask yourself, what is true and what is false? You're always making things up in your head. You're always gathering energy in your head. You're always gathering thoughts in your head or pulling thoughts from the ethers based on what you're focusing on. You're always doing that. But your question is this true or false? And ask your internal self, is this true or false? What's the responses that you get? If you say, I can't do that, and you know you can decide, and you'll say, is that true or false, Spirit? And you'll say, false. Right? And then when you have these past life aggressions, but you feel they're true, and it gets validated by your external world in a sense through the course of years, as mine have, you start recognizing there's something to this. When you intuitively read something and it pans out the way you saw it without no intellect or physical, I would say, presentation that it could go that way, that you can somehow be intuitive enough to foresee something that happens the same way, you start realizing that's super real. Because it's matching. The external is matching your intuition. It's matching the information you drummed up from your internal source, which is your soul. So this is why a lot of people, it's super real, the metaphysical spaces, while others don't, because they don't tap into it. They don't have the external world to validate that because they're not trying to tap in or learn more about themselves. But just as if you feel emotion, that emotion for you is super real, even if someone doesn't understand it. Does that, because they don't understand what you're feeling, does that make it invalidate it? No. Right? And so, same thing with intuition, same thing with your metaphysical and supernatural and spiritual experiences. It's super real to you because you can see the consistency and the synchronicity. No one else can. And the only way, for me, even being a reader as a kid, being a psychic medium, I have the Virgo rising that always tells me, like, I'm skeptical about all this. Maybe I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm really perceptive, right? And I'm really perceptive of things, and I can just feel that. And maybe there's no psychic ability. So I'm like, and maybe just with spirit, maybe people are the same, and I'm channeling spirit. So I'm just kind of like gathering, cold reading. I thought that was true until, as I started evolving the craft, and I meet with people and I give them dates of things, names of things, special nicknames, certain things that they saw, that how the hell could I pull that out and match it with them? More so with the personality of the person. Here's a personality. This is what they went. This is what they did to you. This is what they've been showing you. This, and this is what they went. This is how they died. And all, stuff. All that information, someone's like, yeah. That makes it super real because it's been validated. Right? So a lot of people are tripped up, and I'm so fascinated watching like atheists talk versus atheists versus Christians, or spiritualists versus atheists, and I'm always so fascinated about those discussions and how someone can just believe there's nothing at all, and because science didn't prove it. And there's a lot of things science can't prove and haven't proven yet or resolved yet. Does that mean that there's nothing else to it, right? So the fact they can't deny it, they can't deny these supernatural experiences, doesn't mean that there's still a phenomena we have to expand and elaborate on. So don't let that stop you. Once you have yourself explore, if you really want it to be real for you, explore it for yourself. Have curiosity for yourself on the matter, and it will become super real, not just supernatural. Like, oh, this is, of course, to me, it's like, I don't even like to call it supernatural. It's like, duh. Like, it's a given, right? So intuition is where you start with that, and so that can lead in so many different ways. You can read, like I've always talked about reading spaces, energy in spaces, and there's children that have incarnated, and at 5-6 years old they say, my name is Joe Smith, and I lived on Washington Avenue, and and they're like, what are you talking about? He's like, and I had 2 cars and 3-car garage house, and they describe the house, and they study this, and they go to see if there was a person with that name who lived in that block, and it's true, there's a person that lived in that block, and the way the child has described it, they can't prove, right, or disprove the fact that we have incarnation or we reincarnate. They can't prove that or disprove it. So, but circumstances like that to me is proof, and that's super real. How the hell does a 6-year-old kid know this first and last name, what he looked like, and where he lived, in the car, and everything he described it, and that actually existed, and how they died, right? And so even if some people say, well, maybe it's just like picking up on random energy, you would still have to be telepathic or psychic to pick up on some random energy and for it to match. That means we're receptors. But the one thing that has been validated is that we all have intuition. Whether or not intuition is formed based on us observing patterns or not, but we all have intuition. So if we have intuition to read beyond that's presented in front of us physically, how far can we take intuition then? Intuition is validated. They say animals are very instinctual and also intuitive too. So if they can actually prove intuition, what if we take intuition as far as it can go? Where does that go to? Psychic awareness. Because if that ability exists to read outside of the physicality, with just being intuitive and having intuition, then it must expand and evolve into psychic ability, right? I'm telling you, it does. And so I find it interesting. They always want to separate psychic ability from intuition. Sure, it's a different expression, but the beginning of psychic awareness is intuition. And psychic ability is just an expansion of intuition. So again, supernatural, but when you practice and you actually experience the consistencies and the synchronicity and validations in your external world, it's super real. And it has to be super real for you, just as your emotions are super real for you. Just like we hold on to our emotions and defend our emotions, the same thing we got to do with our supernatural abilities. Say, it's super real to me. I've questioned it, I challenged it, and I got my validation. So, and if somebody else wants that validation, vindication, let them figure it out for themselves. Because if you had more people relying on their own experiences and in conjunction to the external world of validation to vindicate the supernatural, then we probably there'd be more studies looking into that. But a lot of people are afraid to. But let's dive into that. Let's dive into that supernatural so we can then make it super real for us and also for others around us too. My partner the other day, I was showing a list of predictions and he's just like looking, he's like, how the hell do you do this? It's like, it's supernatural to him. And he didn't quite believe in that until meeting me actually. He was like, yeah, I kind of thought so, but he wasn't really sure if like psychics are real and stuff. And he's spiritual too, but being around me has allowed him to make it real for him that he does believe, and so, because he sees it, it's vindicated him. Like, how would I know this stuff? So that's what we have to kind of work toward now, is make it super real for those individuals, all of us who actually have intuition, so then we can expand and elaborate it and know where to look scientifically to vindicate it. But I personally think there's no interest on vindicating the spiritual perspective or the internal power that we have, because we were overturned governments and corporations. So, so of course I believe it's being suppressed. Not that they haven't really found the answer to consciousness or found the answer, because they always find this supernatural stuff in the ethos and the cosmos and universe, but they don't want to talk about human consciousness. It's all out there in the universe, but what about us, where it's just these peons, right? So I believe it's being suppressed for that fact. So dive in, find that power, guys. And that is true self-reflection. All right, we're done with that topic. And so let's see, we have a quick message before I get into these reading. Quick message from Nina. And we'll get into the readings. This is a message from Nina.
Thursday crew, what is up? I got a channel message, tapped in fresh. I kept hearing sacred shedding, sacred releasing. I saw the image of the pomegranate kind of being smashed in the hand with that kind of red blood energy dripping from the hand. And this symbology of sacred rage in order to find what you do feel passionate about and what you feel is sacred to you. And with that kind of smashing of the pomegranate and blood dripping, almost kind of like this justice energy too, I'm hearing those that were never part of your community will start to shed and release themselves as you go forward to expand. And feeling through that grief of what was to then accept it and allow for new things to come in is what Spirit was guiding me. And I heard 444 and 555, these numbers around change kept popping up too. And I'm hearing now it's time to fully trust your divinity. So for some of you, it even could look like actually putting your spiritual gifts out there and wholeheartedly believing in your strength and in your wisdom and in your knowledge at this time, because I'm hearing that the light workers are being called to the front within this month, and a lot of you here in Thursday Crew are part of that. So get serious about what things you need in order to make that happen.
Okay, so basically just a complimentary message from my opening. So thank you, Nina. It's always in sync. Yes, all the above. No need to re-elaborate. I did it. She did well in saying that. And yeah, it's your choice, guys. It's your choice. It's your choice if you want to shine or not shine. It's your choice. Do you want to be excelling or do you want to be just like plateauing? Or it's your choice. Are you going to let the fact that it might be a little uncomfortable stop you from doing something while you remain uncomfortable? That's your choice. Because being uncomfortable while you're doing something new is exciting. Being uncomfortable while staying in a rut is depressing. So either way, you're going to be uncomfortable. Why not do with some uncomfortable with excitement and knowing that, hey, what else do I have to lose? Right? So thank you, Nina, for that awesome in sync message. Okay, let's get to these. We just have a few reads, actually. It's going to be a short night tonight, and that's fine with me because I've been feeling tired today, tired. So I think it's working good in that factor. First question from Mrs. Beth BL. Keep it on the BL. No one has. Okay. Scott, what can I do to reverse my hair thinning, hair loss, and regrow it? Really? You think because I have hair now, that I have hair in my head now, I know what to do with that? Let me see if it's just something that's just right now, it's part of your where you're going, or something else. Let me see on that. Well, part of it's just, it is part of its age. I do feel primarily your scalp is dry, so I'd put you work with some healthy hair oils. You know, I think that would really help with some of the thinning too. I also feel like you're not having enough healthier fats, so I also feel like it's internal too. So there's two things here. It's internal. Thanks, Mom. Collagen and vitamin C. Take collagen and vitamin C. Thanks, Mom. I'm always here to correct me on it. And so, but also healthier fats, I feel like you need to. And it seems dry in the exterior, so I don't know how you're brushing or processing. That's drying it out too. So I would give it some time where you revitalize with some oils. Take the collagen, take the vitamin C, the biotin, of course, and give that a try. Because it feels internal and also external too. So like you're not getting nutrients within, but it also feels like you're doing something topically too that's drying it out and then thinning it out. So that's what I would do with that. Second question is, the man that's been taking me out has health sensitivities. He won't even use a cell phone. I hope he doesn't have anything serious like HIV. Can I have HIV? He looks at young guys when we're on a date, so I can't help to wonder about his health concerns, although he seems to be in excellent health. I'm sorry. No, I don't feel there's anything wrong with his health in that regard. I feel like he is a little paranoid, but I don't think there's anything wrong with his health though. I don't know what the question is. I guess he said can realize HIV. No, I don't feel that with him. I just think he's always in kind of like lookout mode. So I don't know it's necessary that he's checking out young guys, or if he's just feeling, on edge because of the energy, with the guys that are around, depending on how young they are. There's also that kind of penis envy that guys have too, in a sense. It's just like, they're better looking than me, and it feels like that, I was hoping that would feel like a gay vibe or bi vibe, but I don't really get that from him in a sense. I don't know if he's gone that far yet. And that could also be something he's just not conscious of. But I just feel like it's more paranoid, just kind of like spaces. And if someone's young, he might feel threatened by a younger male because he's not young. And so he might have that's what it feels like to me right now with that. If it leads into something else, I'm not saying it won't, it may not, or, it's not, I don't know. I can't tell where he's going to evolve with this aspect of himself. I'm just saying right now, that's not the focus currently, but better than the last. And I still think he's like, still being honest and forthright with you, but there's still a weirdness, still a weirdness going on there. All right, we have, what is this here? 2 for iPods, my husband, and what does he do here? Let me see. Did card pull, right? Okay. Let's see, Felicia. Okay, last question, actually, we're short, so if you want to get your questions, get them in now, otherwise I'm closing it down. But last is with Felicia. She says, what should be done for lupus? If my husband quit his job, would he still be fine? Is that lupus? Felicia, I don't know if you're saying lupus, if the syndrome, lupus. And then the second question is if your husband quits his job to be fine, or is lupus his name? But I'll answer both because I feel like there were two questions. Well, as you know, lupus is an immune deficiency, immune disorder, like in a sense, disease. And so, for me, if you're questioning about anything with immune system related, my mom always recommends quercetin, to increase the white blood cells, good for your immune system. But as well as focusing on the gut too, make sure the gut's intact too. And because if the gut's out of whack, then your immune system is out of whack, and the system is just going to be, functioning in stress. So diet. And so I definitely think that you need to really focus on how to manage the diet and understand how to raise the white blood cells and how to not create inflammation in the body, which, again, inflammation in the body is created by, refined sugars and refined grains. So you're going to have to revamp that aspect. And so, but I think, again, it's very manageable in that sense because, there will be fatigue if you're not, if your body's overworking. But I would definitely take quercetin, zinc, vitamin D, daily, if you can, also to refine, to restructure the body, and and monitor your levels. I'm not sure if lupus is similar because it's similar to like HIV in a sense of it's immunity disorder, but they're different at the same time too. So I don't know if it measures white blood cells, T cells, and all that stuff, but definitely look at taking some quercetin, vitamin D, zinc to healthier fats. My mom says omega-3s, yes, healthy fats for sure, and of course exercise, movement. These are things that you have to create a different lifestyle, but most importantly, cutting out the stuff that creates inflammation in the body, and that raises cortisol, and things that raise cortisol levels. That's definitely something that you want to make sure you avoid. Okay. If your husband is job, would he still be fine? Well, what do you mean by fine? I mean, because is he ever fine? No, if your husband quit his job, he'd be a nuisance. So, I mean, fine as far as financially, I mean, perhaps, I just think he'd be a nuisance. I think that he would just end up driving you crazy, to be honest with you. So he would definitely have to find something else to do this time instead of sitting in that lounge chair of his, because I just see him sitting in this lazy boy chair. When he's not doing anything with his feet propped up and just, that's his thing. So imagine that all day, right? So I don't necessarily feel like there'd be issues financially, maybe because he'll get some, income coming in, in that sense. But yeah, I definitely feel like he would be okay, but it'd just be more of a nuisance to you. So, and I'm sure you'd want to be out of the house a little more than so. But yeah, I mean, would he still be okay? And yeah. Oh, is there no links in the description of the chat here for my live show? That's probably why no one's got any questions in. Let me double check on that. Nina, did I put that? Is it in my chat here? Let's see. No, it's not. That's why. Let me see if I can edit that now. That's probably why no one booked any questions today. All right, guys, if you want to get a question in, I'm going to put the links in. I'm going to update the links. So, Nina, can you put that in the description or put it in the chat? That's probably why no one booked it. I'm like, why is there only two questions today? Which is fine. I mean, I can end quickly, but I realized I didn't put the details in. Go figure. Let me get this in now. If you guys care or want to. Otherwise, I just won't waste my time on it. Let me just update that now. Sorry, guys. One moment. I didn't realize I copied the wrong description and put it in there. Okay. All right. It's saved. Yeah, but you never checked that. I mean, that's your finding. You weren't. I wasn't expecting you to check the bio there. I'll put it in there here too. I'll put it in the chat as well. So yeah, if you want to get your questions in, I just put the descriptions in there. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't. Might be a long one. Sorry, I didn't do that. And I'll probably wait a little bit too, just to see. And if none come on, then we'll navigate out. But okay. And I think Felicia said something else. She had one more question. Let me finish that. 2. It's there now, Nina. If you could just put in the chat too for that, and if people wanted to throw in a question or so. Okay, and the last for Felicia. Sorry, I had to go back and forth on here. Wish I could just go to break. Ding, 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 and go to break. Okay, how can I develop my healing abilities so I can help others? Oh, gosh. Felicia, you got to wait on that. You got to wait on I wouldn't be focused on healing others right now. You need to start with your charitable cause, your foundation. That's how you're going to heal people, through creating a resource for people. Okay? Healing abilities right now, I just think that you're in a position right now that's not going to be wise to do it like any type of like the physical healing. And Reiki's great, and it's like massage and all that stuff too, but it's not really doing deep-rooted healing, right? And so deep-rooted healing comes from like people who do therapy work, people who do charitable causes. That's true healing. And people overly mystify healing so much that they're not actually participating in the things that bring true healing to our species, culture, and planet. So yeah, get back involved with your nonprofit, your charitable cause, and get that going. Focus on that. Stop thinking about all this other shit. Instead of the aspect that's really going to bring healing to our species and our culture and society. So focus there. And healing comes in different format, in so many different formats. And we have so much in this external world that needs to be healed that everyone's just focused on just connect with people in the spiritual communities, and we're supposed to reach outside of our spiritual communities to heal. And so you need to ask yourself, even in which facet are you even talking about? Because it's very vague, your healing abilities. What aspect do you want that? To what expression do you want that to be? Too many Christians walking around being Christians, they're not healing anybody. They're not doing anything. They're just walking around condemning everybody and everything. Oh, you're in sin, and not healing anything. Not saying all, but the ones we see in our faces on TV and everywhere. Just a bunch of judgmental hypocrites, right? Is that healing anything? Is that religion really doing anything for healing anything? Other religions that's shun women and hang gays. I mean, there's so many of them that are they healing anything? Are they allowing evolution to expand and to evolve? No. Just about everything that is wrong with everything and everybody. It's not healing. What we need to understand is people who have been privy to hardship and difficult times, or weren't able to, or succumb to their challenges, that we need to understand how to heal them so they can move forward and rise above it and resolve karma. And then also understand those who we just can't help and can't fix either. But the question is vague, because you need to, in which facet do you want to, because I'm sensing you don't know a facet that in a way you want to heal. And most people just go to like just laying hands on people. I'm like, that doesn't do anything, guys. That could be a temperamental fix, right? If it really was possible, why are there so many of those Christian healers that are all frauds, right? Could you make yourself feel better? Could you heal yourselves? Yeah, but you need to understand what's the proper outlet to heal. And that comes with understanding one's behavior and correcting behavior. But no one wants to correct the behavior. Everyone just wants to sit back and just not change anything. Just like, take it away from me, take it away. It's like, no, you can't have something be taken away if what you're doing is creating it, and you still keep doing the thing that's creating it. It's not going to go anywhere. So we got to understand healing. Oh, am I going to ever be healed of my my thyroid problem as you don't change your diet and eat poorly? As you continue to eat the things that you have allergic reactions to, like, is my allergies going to be taken away from me? If you're allergic to almonds, then don't eat almonds, right? That's the thing. And if you don't want to get broken out into big lips, then don't eat the almonds. But if you keep wondering why you keep eating big lips because you want to eat the almonds, just want the side effect to be taken away, that doesn't make any sense. And many people do that with spiritual healing. Somehow it's like, I don't want this pain, heal me, take it away. The gateway to your healing is understanding where you're at intellectually, and understand the prison that you put yourself in mentally. That's your healing, and getting yourself out of that mental prison. That's healing. And so sometimes that healing comes in a stage that we have to offer resource to people to make it easier for them to get back on their feet. Sometimes healing is that you're teaching others about things they need to learn and to know within themselves, also on how to function or how to make things easier. That's healing, growth. So define in what aspect, and quite frankly, focusing on a non-charitable cause that you have interest in, that you had interest in, and getting that in gear would be more if effective than just like, I'm going to heal someone with this. We got to remember that we are cruises. I just read that. We have to remember that we're physical. We can't forget because we're spiritual that all of a sudden the physical don't matter, or because we're spiritual the physical don't exist no more. Bullshit. And I'm not talking to you, Felicia. I'm just inspired the conversation. But we better be in tune to our physical. That's what being spiritual is being aware of the physical experience that we're in. Not just like, oh, I'm spiritual, so I don't have to focus on the negativity and the negative stuff in my body. Just like wish it away. We're just going to hold it away. Not going to happen that way. The magic is being in control of this noggin of yours and also allowing that noggin to be coincided and synced with the soul so you have control. That's magic. And healing is allowing those things that are preventing that to go. So many guys have healing all wrong. I'm not saying you, Felicia. I'm just the topic itself is the issue, with that. Okay. Amy, the card pull, not to be rude, but the card pull is $15. You sent $5, so just send an extra $10. I'm only trying to be fair. I'm not trying to pinch pennies here, but you sent $5. Card pulls are $15. I'm just trying to be fair for everyone else who paid. I'm not really overly concerned, but just I have to be fair. So if you want the card pull, another $10. If not, I'll just refund the $5. So I'm not trying to pinch pennies here. It's not about the money, but I have to be fair because other people are spending the right amount. And that's why I even charge the first one, to be fair. You want something, I'll give it in exchange. I'm not trying to, Okay, from Karma. I met a new attorney this week. Do you think she's great or should I keep looking? Very anxious this week, but moving forward. Thanks, God. Okay, let me see. Let me do a card pull on that. And, if you can relay the message that, again, Amy had sent only $5 instead of $15 for the card pull, and again, not pinching pennies. I got to be clear about the money thing, but I'm being fair because I want to pay the rate and pay the whatever fee was, and I just got to be fair that way. Otherwise, everyone will be wondering why I'm not giving it to them for cheap. Okay, and I could not send anything, but I wouldn't feel good with myself that I'd be kind of cheating other people. Okay, let me see this attorney. Karma. Okay. I know, Sid. I was thinking that too, Amy. I was like, maybe the one is not clear enough. So I'm going to probably have to change the font on that. So I totally get it. Because right when I looked at that, I'm like, she probably only saw the 5. That one is thin. So it's not your fault. I completely understand that. And if you don't want to send an extra 10, I can totally refund the 5. I just have to be fair on this. All right, sorry, Karma. I got a little distracted. Okay. I feel like this attorney is equipped. The best card I love for female attorneys is the Queen of Swords because they're very good with legal matters. They're not a pushover. They're really good at getting things done. But if this attorney can't do it, then no other attorney would be able to. So they're kind of saying if this attorney doesn't work out, then maybe the road needs to end here on it, right? So I feel like this could be the end of the situation through her, and if she can't do it, then no one else could. If she can, then she'll do it, right? So yeah, I know this has been a long, drawn out thing for you, but that also could be a good sign of the fact that she is good at the legalities and she is top tier in that sense. And I like the Ace of Pentacles is really all about finances, so she might be able to find a way through this. And the Wheel of Fortune is actually, I think in this sense, is the Wheel of Fortune. She could be the one that potentially could get things in motion. If she does or not, because the opposition, it remains to be seen, but I feel like she would be the one that I would think that could be the one that could either make it or break it. I would say make it, or if it can't work out, no one else really could if she couldn't. I feel that energy with her. Not to be extreme, but I would definitely look at that and kind of give, see what she can do. It reads well with her. Okay. It reads well. Okay. Let's shuffle these cards. Actually, what am I doing this? I forgot. Jesus, my iPad's falling over. Give me a moment here to fix this. Yeah, I like the Queen of Swords on that karma. I do. Okay, let's see. Amy card pull. Okay. And right when I got to Amy, used the $10 come in. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay. The door is unlocked. But I'm glad you did that, Amy, because I do need to change that font, actually. I have big screens. I have like 80-inch TV in the living room that I was looking out on, so it looks different in there. I have to remember a lot of you guys are on your phones or iPads, that font ain't going to do it. It's new. I just upgraded and made the font new, so I probably don't need to have the chat on the screen either, because you probably can't even read that either, right? Okay. Yeah, why is the chat is stuck too, isn't it? Let me see why that chat is stuck here. There we go. The chat was even stuck. Some weird glitch is going on today. Okay. Just shuffling these cards. Okay. Okay. I knew it was going to come right before I pulled it. Okay. Oh, sometimes spirit can be funny to me. So, right before I pulled the cards, I was like thinking to myself, if a skeptic came in, I was giving a read to Amy, and they'd say, how stupid is he? He's telling her to be around plants. And then I got all these cards that pull saying, you're not being around nature. So, yeah, the message here is simple, and card pulls are meant to be simple and easy takeaways. Is you really should be around. You need to be around nature. Maybe you're resisting it, or maybe you didn't spend as much time you did, and so now you need to now. So you got to be around nature. I feel like some downloads that will happen as you're around nature, some inspiration that will flow through, because just changing your intellectual modality to be around like nature and organic essences will bring more inspiration. And so I feel like that's the lack of you being attached to this and getting out of your environment currently is creating a delay in your life and your changes, right? Like where nothing's really happening, kind of like a stalemate energy, right? And so things kind of feel like I'm kind of stuck a little bit, or why aren't things moving? They're saying it's so stupidly simple. Like just spend more time in nature, go for a hike, be around trees, lakes, whatever the case is, breathe. It's so stupidly simple, this message, and I guess it's a card pull. It's supposed to be, because I pulled 4 anyway, not just one. Card pull is meant to say, here's your card of the day, but I'm doing like I pulled 4. And they're consistent because, the world card in reverse, wheel of fortune card in reverse, saying like you're not getting out of your cycle. You're not getting out of your routine. You're not thinking outside the box. And they're saying to do this. And it's hard for us to fathom intellectually. If I just like go in nature and change my motion, my rhythm, how the freak is that going to like change things in my life? It's like your brain will change, your mind will change, your focus, you redirect your brain to start processing in a different way. Remember this. When we're in a rut and we keep processing, thinking about the same thing over and over again, there's no movement there. That's what insanity is, actually. Expecting the same thing, do the same thing, expecting a different result. And we overprocess, and then that's what we feel. And so when you step outside those circumstances, your brain's like, oh, I'm appreciating nature. I appreciate this organic flow. I feel it's time to exhale. I can breathe as I'm getting stuffed up. So you might be congested. And if it's not physically, you might be congested literally, or excuse me, figuratively. It's not literally. So you start focusing on other things, and you allow yourself to hear yourself within. It's kind of alignment to the intro collective message. And so you'll hear yourself, because the Empress in reverse is like creator, but also in charge. But you're not allowing yourself to be in charge. Be in charge. Be the dictator of your own life. And that's what they're saying. It's an intellect shift. So that's why by changing, environment, being around nature more so, is how you can actually shift your intellect and also hear your intuition. And they're saying that's needed for you right now. Okay? And boy, I just got stuffed up after reading you, because maybe you are stuffed up, congested, or suffocating yourself, so you're not breathing enough. You know, more in the figurative sense. Right? So, okay, guys. So let me see this. I think that was it. It's my fault. I didn't put the readings in the stats in the description. As I said, they were below. They were not. So if you guys want to take a little more time, get questions in, let's run a little sound bath and make sure I'm not missing anything else here before I close that. And if you want to get readings or some questions in after sound bath, I'll keep it open there too, only because I failed to put the links in the description as I should, and I did not. So let's take a little bit of a sound bath. And again, if you want to get your questions, get them down to the sound bath, and I'll be willing to answer more after the sound bath before we close. So, and Nina, you can be pitching that too. And I need to locate the file. Give me a second. Jesus, so many tech things going on right now. I'll tell you that. Now I gotta find. It says it cannot find the file. All right, let me go. Lafayette sound bath folder here, and I think my favorite one was number 8. Let's see. Let's try it out. Sure, you all need that little peaceful break for a moment, right? And guys, share, like, subscribe. I'm having to now do this as a YouTuber. Now Spirit's kicking me in the ass because I've been mocking having to say that. And now I'm realizing I have to keep saying it. So please share my content, like the content, engage with it, right? Been here a little over a year now. And so it takes some help from you guys to keep this going. So especially on nights where it's quiet, there's gonna be nights where it's quiet. So help to share. And I've noticed, because I have my account that I create, and I have my personal account, and I just noticed that it's not recommending my videos as it used to, because it used to show up on my other account all the time. Now it barely does. So help me get that algorithm going. I have to ask you guys for that favor in return, so I can continue doing my live shows every Wednesday, actually. So, pitch it, like it, share it, engage with the content, bring people in as much as you can too. That definitely helps. Now I understand why all my YouTubers always ask, because they have to keep that going. They have to keep that active. And now I understand when I see them put the subscribe button, the bell all the time. I get it. We have to ask for that. Because it's important. It keeps us, being visible, and there's been algorithm changes even on Instagram. It's like my things aren't visible as much anymore, and it's frustrating when we're fighting against an algorithm. But you guys can help that, so we can keep doing our content, right, for you guys, and be consistent. And that's why I think a lot of YouTubers disappear and just stop doing it, because they're like, okay, they're not being seen. So yeah, I'm gonna have to be vocal about it. I'm gonna have to embrace that I'm a YouTuber, and just put the little icons on the screen, and remind people, because I've had YouTubers I loved following, and then they just fell off. I'm like, God, where'd they go? And disappointed. So I'm not trying to say that to put you guys in fear of anything, but I'm also here to be a resource for my clients too, right? So like, share, subscribe, right? I get it, Spirit. It's funny, because I'm like, I've been saying, well, I don't care about numbers. Now I'm starting to be concerned about numbers and stuff. I'm like, that's not like me. I feel odd, but my guys are trying to teach me, like, you have to see this through. You don't want to do YouTube, and you're doing it now. You now have to be wanting to build your audience on social media, online. Because my online presence does not reflect how busy I've been for 12 years in my work, but it's a different beast, right? And so that's why I never really cared to do online, because I'm busy outside of social media. So, but it's definitely been a wonderful asset that I want to continue. So, and Spirit's been kicking my ass, like saying, care about it, care about your numbers, care about getting more views, care about getting more followers. I'm like, all right, okay, I hear you. I don't ever want to become those people who are obsessed with it, So, okay, this is for card pull for Melissa Lee. There's a lot going on, Melissa, but it's a card pull. I got to keep it simple. I have to remind myself to keep it simple. Okay, first card, Melissa. I've got scattered energy pulling your cards. So, Tower card could be a devastating card, but it doesn't have to be either. To me, it's all about change. And for me, when I look at the Tower card, I see what stands out to me the most, and it's the fire, and it's the lightning bolts. So for me, this is a change, a reconstruction of your thinking, and also trying to really find your passion now. So your focus should be on what you're passionate about, and letting go of things that you're not passionate about. Chariot card's all about a quick movement. There's a regal movement to the Chariot card, right? And coming in with an intention, coming in with a mission. And so that makes sense, as I'm sensing that's more about passion and kind of illuminating to outdated ideas and people and circumstance, right? To be general. That's what these card pulls are, general, just FYI. That the Chariot card is coming with that purpose. So really finding that passion and power, because the Four of Wands in the reverse position is saying it's time to get out of the stage of stagnancy. I don't know if that's even a word. I always said stagnancy since I was a kid. I'm like, I just made it up. But it's time to get out of that period of being stagnant and start using more than intuition. Okay, this feels like an emotional read to me, because it feels like there's things that you're breaking down or need to be broken down, and it's all about this intellect and really push through your passion, not letting things hold back your passion. And that's for you to discover, because otherwise I'd be like, oh, your passion is this, but it's just a card pull. So remember, they're supposed to remain to be general for time's sake. I'm going over because it's quieter tonight, but So it's up to you, because otherwise I'll say your passion is this and find this, but your guys are saying you need to really discover what we mean by that passion. You know, I do feel an ending of a relationship has to go that's coinciding with this Tower card for me too. So this relationship doesn't just have to be romantic. It could be a family relationship. I just feel a vital relationship ending, and having to accept that. And understand like there's nothing more to push on this relationship. Again, relationship could be any relationship. It just feels like an important relationship. You know. So, I definitely think it's important for you to look at that and understanding those dynamics, that dynamic particularly that I'm reading, and it could be just general reading and essence of that. It's what's been preventing you from having your own internal peace. And I love that the surrender card here, I'm going overboard with you a little bit because I feel like it needs to right now, so I'm being a little generous. The peace the surrender and peace card, saying like, you know, surrendering, giving up that aspect and breaking it down is where you're going to really find that peace, because I don't feel like you've been able to find your peace. Your intuition has been distorted because of what needs to be broken down, right? So it's a period of change in that sense, but, you know, really it's time to tap into that intuition, you know, and yeah, it's what I have to say. It's time for you to take the spotlight. They're saying too. It's funny. I posted a video. You know, it's your time now to shine, right? So, and I feel that too. It's time to shine. I'm going over a little bit in this too because I just feel compelled to. But like Fool card and the Page of Cups. Fool card is really all about a new beginning, but just looking where you're leaping with that. Page of Cups is like a new messenger, a new person, new invitation. So I'm going to keep it general there too with the cards there. Could be a new relationship that comes in, or a friendship, right? Just again, when we say relationship, it doesn't only mean romantic. Someone else comes in with like, so maybe you meet someone who's like really on board to where you want to be, and they inspire you too. So that could also be this new messenger. So, so there's new beginnings as well on the other side of this. So it's almost like you're on the precipice of change. Okay. I went way overboard on that, but I felt compelled to, because you carpool's like, use your intuition, you know, so. Okay. Next, we have a card pull for Sydney Aaron. And I'm about to close these down now. In about 5 minutes, I'll wait to see, because I know I screwed up on not posting the links in the bio. And Nina and I both thought they were there. So I'll give you guys a little more time. If you want to get a question in now, I'll get them in, and then I'll close them down if there's not. Okay. I just had a Four of Wands came. Okay, just shuffling for Sydney. Okay. Your cards, Sydney, are a little slow. Sorry, y'all. It's Sydney's energy here. Okay, and I just lost the. Okay, take my word for it, because I accidentally shuffled it back in. We got the Four of Wands, which is a new home, move, settling into new home, new environment, important. Fool cards, new beginnings. Again, we got the Fool card with the last quart. You're getting the Fool card again. So obviously, there's a new beginnings here, right? You're starting something. You're starting things new again, and that's a Death card too. So perhaps this move, new home, energy, actually really puts an end to a lot of things emotionally for you. You know, and I also feel like with the protection that was sitting right when you came to me too, this protection card is not so much saying you need it. I feel like you're allowing yourself to protect your environment now from the emotional turmoil of the past, from the things that are unresolved, or for people you have to deal with currently. I feel like you're setting your boundaries on that, and your parameters on that right now. That's what the Death card is saying with the Fool card. Because this is ending, new beginning, literally. Because even Death card's a new beginning. And then the Ace of Pentacles to me is like, I think you will have a better financial outlook now too. A way better financial outlook. And so I think that's also because you set your boundaries and parameters. So, and the Ten of Cups is, you know, complete happiness, right? So it's all about like things coming together and really focus on what really is pleasurable for you, right? So this new home move, I think, is more symbolic and more ritualistic than you think. And I think it's you saying, this is my space. And I told you, Sydney, I think it was like 6 months ago. I think it was on a live video too. I'm going to have to flip back the videos. I told you you're going to move. And you're like, you gave me a face like, I don't want to move. And I think it was on one of the lives that you've done here with me here. So I want to flip back the videos if it was. Hopefully I'm correct and it wasn't through actually a one-on-one personal read. I told you you're going to move. And you're like, I don't want to move. I'm not planning on moving. You know, and here you are. You did. So, but this move is, like I said before, is a reflection and indicative of your internal change and what you're shedding. So, yeah, I think that's great. Let me say, oh my God, this move is everything. We are dropping this story of having no help and being alone. Thank you. What do you need help for? Help yourself over here, okay? Help yourself. It's great to have to rely on yourself, you know, so. Oh, Melissa, you didn't have to do that, my love. I appreciate that. You don't have to do that because I went over. I was just, you know, letting people know that, so they know I don't go that long in a carpool, but I feel like you needed some of that. But no, you did not have to do that, but I very well appreciated of that. I'm learning how to receive because I would just refund it back to you, my old self. What Spirit's like, when someone gives something to you, Scott, appreciate it and receive it. So I'm like, well, thank you for the extra on that. You didn't have to do that. But I appreciate it. How about that? Okay. Thank you so much, love. You're amazing. All right, Sydney. Well, that's a good read for you too, Sid. Very good for you. I'm proud of you. Finally, like kick that old stuff in the arse, right? So, all right, Sherry. Question 1: Mom moved to adult family home 4 weeks ago. She isn't doing well. Get aggressive and angry. They're adding drugs and not working. Afraid going to lose her, as in drugged up. Any thoughts on to help? Okay. Let me see. You know, Sherry, it's weathering the storm on this situation. It's not going to happen overnight, and she has to be there in assisted living, right? So the ways to do that is showing up consistently, you know, almost acting like, because she's also reading, responding to you guys are very uncomfortable about this. So we all read each other's energy, whether whether we're conscious of it or not. So she's also feeling your anxiety about it, and so she's kind of reacting on that too. So if you say, Mom, I understand, but it's just, you'll adjust, it'll be fine. You keep just weathering the storm, right? And bring her flowers, bring her things, Mom, do anything, and maybe just do extra visits along the way. Excuse me. And allow yourself to get extra visits along the way to kind of like show that you're still there. You're not just dropping, she's not alone, and you're participating. That consistency, you know, and because right now, like her being like there, she's there now alone, and she's being drugged up, and you know, you want to just nurture her through this process and say, Mom, it's here, but we're going to be taking care of you, this so we can take care of you. We're going to be here, and we're going to show up, and you know, nurture the situation until she gets to a point where she's actually then not needing you, so to speak, right? And then she's like, oh, I met a friend. You know, and then you'll notice like in a month, she met a friend and she's fine, go home, I don't need you, right? So it's just nurturing that. But you guys are feeding off each other's guilt and anxiety. So I would understand you're doing that and you're bringing that to the table too. Fluff it down and weather the storm every day. And show, Mom, I love you. We're here. We're going to come here. You're going to meet new people and bring her flowers, like extra nurturing. I don't know what's going on my nose right now. Extra nurturing. Okay. Stop reacting to, and I don't say this to be condescending, but like stop reacting to the circumstance. Nurture the circumstance. Oh my God, she's reacting. Oh my God, and you're reacting to her reaction. Say she's reacting. Say, Mom, it's all right. Like we'll get used to this. We're gonna visit. We're not leaving you here. you know, and whatever she can understand, just put that energy out and show up more. Hey, mom, got you flowers. Hey, mom, got you this. Almost like you're rewarding her for being there. And showing her by being there is like you're able to do more for her in that sense, right? Show that. Okay? A lot of times it's just a shift of perspective. But you feel horrible that she's there too, and she knows it. She feels it. Find a way to make you feel okay with it and her feel okay with it. That's saying this is actually a good solution for both. And in the long run, she's going to be happy and make some friends here and have, you know, fun with her dinner and Jello nights, whatever they do, you know. And question 2, what should I focus on right now? Well, that's a can of worms. What you should be focusing on right now? I mean, how deep, you know, and shallow should I remain on that? You know, I am going to talk emotionally. What you should be focusing on now is how you're processing your emotions and how you're responding to them. That's what you should be focusing on now. Did you think I was going to talk about some sort of conditional, you know, thing you need to be doing next, a project or something? No. No project. Focus on how you're balancing out your own emotional responses. And allowing yourself to nurture yourself through that process too. You're not allowing yourself to feel so much guilt or stress either. Manage that. Talk that through with yourself. That's what you should be focusing on right now. And releasing a lot too. And there's a lot of energy with your mom that has to be released during this process too, which is why you harbor guilt too. That guilt goes way back as well. That guilt isn't just because of now. There's guilt that goes way back. It's just reigniting it. Try to figure that out now and resolve a lot of that with your mom too. Not with her like directly. I'm saying that in relation to her. Resolve that within yourself. That's what you should be focusing on right now. Clearing that out. Clearing that space out. And just learning how to nurture what you know is necessary. Okay? That's what you should be focusing on now. Okay, did we have anything else? I think that was the last one. Let me just double check on the PayPal here. See? And guys, get the questions now. I'm going to give 5 more minutes and I'm going to close it down and we'll end the live because we already did a sound bath. I'm not used to doing readings at the end. But yes, that was the last one. Okay, great. So if you guys want to get a session, we're going to close readings down now because I'm not going to sit here and wait. But I do want to close off in saying that a lot of the questions here in tonight and the collective read tonight, for me, was really self-reflection. And I always hate that this sounds so cliche. We hear it all the time. Oh, self-reflection. It's like, okay, shadow work, got it. But like, no one really explains well what that really means. They'll give you a process or something, but they don't give you the overarching essence of what it is to do such. And do you want to be conscious to what you're experiencing and how you're navigating and showing up in life? Or do you want to be unconscious to it all? What do you want to be? Do you want to be in control? Well, that means you got to listen to how you feel and observe what you're feeling and how you're balancing your feelings out. That's how you self-reflect and that's how you manage. Because there might be things that you're reacting to for so long unconsciously that's holding you back or that's blocking you from meeting new relationships or blocking you from your next career move. But if you actually looked and paid attention to how you're feeling, you'll understand, like, hey, I'm reacting to this thing all the time. What the hell? Like, how do I... And you work through it and evolve from it and move forward in life. And that energetic motion, that emotion, energy emotion, your own emotions actually is what's navigating you right now. So we have to understand... We need to understand what we're unconscious to emotionally, but also how to use emotion to push us forward. Like I said, gratitude is a technology to me. Appreciation is a technology to me. It's a tool. It's a power to evoke, to push forward, to place into your world, to things to nurture. Right? I mean, they did scientific studies with plants and with rice and with other attributes where they talk negative to one plant and positive to one plant, and they studied that the plant that was talked negative to died, and the plant that was talked positive to was thriving. They've done the same with rice. They put rice in containers. One, they spoke negative thoughts on one rice, a container of rice, and the other container all positive, and between a couple weeks, the one was moldy, the one was still fresh. So there is power behind the spoken word and the energy that we project. There's power behind that. We're just pushing energy around, guys. Don't get so wrapped up in the manifestation shit. Oh, so if I say something, it just pops into existence. No. But what you say you do helps you to navigate and to maneuver around your physical world so you can align with similar energies. You'll be perceptive enough to find that and seek it out and to see it. And also those who are looking for it will find you too. That's real manifestation. But you have to be conscious, what energy are you consistently exporting and projecting? And a lot of us are just very, very reactive, and we don't even understand what we're reacting to and why we're reacting to things. We just react. And so we have to take a step back when reacting and saying, what is this all about here? What's this all about for me? Right? And that changes a lot. That gives you more insight, which leads to psychic awareness. That gives you more feeling of understanding where to go, which increases your manifestation experience, enhances it, so to speak. Everything feels in flow and sync because you're in tune to understand your own current. And when you're in tune to understand you're on your own wavelength, other people that match your wavelength start interacting and intertwining, and you start finding that new world, so to speak. Because you're aligning with those with similar energy, similar vibrations, similar frequencies. And of course, the similar frequencies have so much other dynamic of expressions too. It's not all the same shit. It's like same vibe, but like so many different expressions and dynamic of expressions of that one vibe, which brings a lot of versatility and a lot of, I would say, diversity, and so to speak. But it's time to get our minds in that direction. It's time to get our minds in that type of calibration. If you want to see movement and change and also be in control over your circumstances. And it's okay if you react too. Reacting is okay if you can take a step back, say, why did I react that way? Let me change it and change the pattern. That's okay, cool. You're going to react. Happens. Sometimes, I still to this day, sometimes react. And I catch myself reacting like, oh, that thing's coming up again, you know? You can be objective enough to redirect and soothe the situation and evolve from it. We're human. We're going to have those things. But it's important to understand how to really do that inner work. That's really the inner work, but it's a consistency. It's knowing thyself. And that's what knowing thyself really means. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate every single one of you guys. And again, I apologize for not putting the description, the links, whatever, in the description for the reads earlier. And so, but if you do want to do a one-on-one session with me, they're more in depth, of course. We'll have 45 minutes together to do so. And I go deep. I use cards and reads and automatic writing. And we dive deeper into so many issues from past life regressions, unresolved trauma, trauma processing, karmic paths, karmic lessons, career, relationships, all this wonderful stuff. How to reprocess. What's in the future? Is there unfavorable predictions that are on the way that we need to avoid? So that's another thing about the future. The future, not every step is written in the stars, guys. And so we have a destiny, and we also have a karmic path we're on, and we also are rendering things in our trajectory in real time that we may not want because of our current perspectives. So as a reader, I like to say, look, you're rendering this prediction. This is going to come in like a couple months. You might want to do this and resolve this so it doesn't, to evolve this unfavorable prediction. And so that's why it's good to get a read. That's why it's good to see what's in your trajectory, even though not everything's written in the stars, or every step that you take is written in the stars. It's good to see what you are actually rendering or not. And then what is the actual purpose, and what are you actually is meant to be experienced, because you always can add more to what your initial theme and purpose was to in your life. And that's why it's good to do future predictions in that sense. So I will look at your timeline, past, present, future too, and also understand what those dynamics are in your relationships too that are maybe out of whack. So we go deep. And I'm also a health medium too, connected to health issues. I always say too, get my reads validated by a health physician. A lot of times you go to the health physician and they get it validated by me, and also how to redirect to. So always use both. I always have to put that disclaimer out there too. And so, yeah, and I also have a session called Intuition Builder to help your own psychic abilities, your own mystical awarenesses, all that great stuff. If you want to develop that, I have a session for that too. And also mediumship. Actually, I don't even know why I'm telling you, so I'm just going to run the commercial anyways at the end of the show anyway. So I appreciate all you guys for coming here. If you missed last night's episode of Leading Out Loud, check it out. It's on my page or the Leading Out Loud channel. And we'll be there next Wednesday, and I'll be here next Thursday. So if I don't see you one-on-one, I'll see you next week. And I love you all. Thank you all for stopping by. Remember, you're all the gods and goddesses of your own myth. What do you want to create? Much love. Make it all super real for yourself. Good night.
I just want to say thank you, Scott, for all of your reassurance and guidance.
I thoroughly recommend an appointment with Scott. Go ahead and book it. You won't be disappointed.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.